Wow, so the Eagles are making moves ahead of free agency as they just went out and cut a former All-Pro player, and on top of that, we got a shocking update on the Haason Reddick situation, as with all the recent trade rumors, one of Philly's biggest rivals has made it clear that they are very interested in acquiring Reddick, and if that happened, it would mean big trouble for the Birds. But is there actually any realistic shot of that happening? Meanwhile, we just got some other big updates regarding the Eagles from the NFL Combine, including them having a very serious meeting with another one of the top linebacker prospects in this year's draft, as well as Howie Roseman's thoughts on a bigger role for Nolan Smith, plus Darius Slay just kind of called out Eagle fans. So we're going to talk about all that and more in this video today, and we won't waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so the Eagles have been at the Combine all week, and they've been very busy. We obviously had the Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman press conferences, which I've already broke those down in a previous video, but of course, the reason that the Eagles are there in the first place is to obviously scout players, watch their drills, and also meet with them ahead of the NFL draft, and the Eagles have made sure to meet with a lot of intriguing prospects. The big one that everyone wants to talk about was, of course, their meeting with Jeremiah Trotter Jr., because there's naturally been a lot of hype surrounding him potentially following in his father's footsteps and coming to Philly, and we actually broke that whole possibility down in my previous video, so if you want to check that out after this video, you can. But the Eagles really have met with a wide variety of guys, including physical Washington safety Dom Hampton, Texas tight end Jatavion Sanders, one of the top-ranked safeties in Georgia's Javon Bullard. Shocking, I know, right? The Eagles met with a Georgia Bulldog, and also they met with another top safety in Utah's Cole Bishop, who the Eagles apparently made shoot a basketball 3 times during their meeting, in which he unfortunately went 0 for 3. Just to name a few guys that they actually met with, but there were definitely plenty more that I didn't name. Now, it is definitely a good sign that the Eagles are meeting with some safeties, because that's clearly a position in need for the Birds. Last year, those guys really didn't perform all that well. I mean, Reed Blankenship was actually pretty decent, all things considered, with him being a second-year undrafted guy, and also the rookie Sidney Brown showed a lot of potential, but he was very raw, and he also just wasn't really out on the field too much, and just overall, again, the safety production just as a whole was not great last year. I mean, part of it was definitely the coaching and the scheme, there's no denying that, but some of it was also just the players themselves not being good enough, and we knew that the Eagles were going to have to make some big changes and additions at that position this offseason, especially with the injury to Sidney Brown. And speaking of changes at safety, they just went out and made a big one, as just months after trading for Kevin Byard midseason from the Titans, the Eagles have went ahead and officially cut the former All-Pro. And if you've been watching this channel, then you know that I knew that this was coming, and it's not really a surprise at all. The Eagles thought that they were getting a difference maker in Kevin Byard when they traded for him, and instead, they just got an older veteran who did not produce at the level that he was once producing at. I mean, he just really didn't live up to the hype or do much of anything this year besides have one nice game against Kansas City. So I think there's no question that cutting him was the right move. It has huge benefits in terms of the cap for the Birds, as it gives them an additional $13 million to work with, and it allows them to go search for a better and younger option in free agency, or maybe the Eagles want to use that money elsewhere and they'll target some of these guys in the draft and use them as replacements. Either way, I think it was a smart move to cut Byard, and I do wish him well wherever he ends up. It just sucks that he didn't work out here, because I was really excited when they traded for him. Now, getting back to the Eagles Combine meetings, one of the most intriguing meetings that they had, probably the most intriguing meeting that they had actually, was with one of the top linebacker prospects in the entire draft, and no, it's not Jeremiah Trotter Jr., it's Texas A&M's Edgerrin Cooper, who actually is probably a better option for the Eagles when it comes to guys that they could draft to fill the need at linebacker, because Cooper was an absolute beast in his senior season for Texas A&M, where he amassed 83 tackles along with 8 sacks and 2 forced fumbles, and he's just overall got a lot of promise and room to grow. He's super athletic, he's got good size, and he really can just do it all. You want him to stop the run, he's good for it. You want him to send pressure at the quarterback, he's very good at that, and even dropping into coverage, like, he's very solid, as he was able to hang with tight ends and running backs in college pretty well. And Cooper, in addition to impressing on the field, impressed at the Combine during his drills on Thursday, most notably running the second fastest 40-yard dash among linebackers with a time of 4.52 seconds. So it's very clear that the Aggies linebacker, who models this game after Fred Warner, has a lot of potential and would be a great addition to the Eagles defense. And they apparently see that, as again, they met with the kid at the Combine, and they apparently put him through the ringer during this meeting, going through some film work to see how he'd pick up Vic Fangio's scheme. So to me, with them doing that, I mean, that sounds like they see Cooper as someone who they're very interested in, and someone who could realistically end up on this team when the draft rolls around in April. And I mean, I personally love the idea of the Eagles drafting Edgerrin Cooper, probably even more so than Jeremiah Trotter, but what do you guys think? Now, another one of the big storylines coming out of the NFL Combine for the Eagles is the whole Haason Reddick situation, as with Howie Roseman and the Birds down at the Combine, along with representatives from all 32 teams, there's of course going to be a chance for these guys to meet and get together and discuss potential trades and do all that stuff. And during Combine week, the Haason Reddick trade rumors have only gotten louder, as we've got multiple reports saying that there are a good amount of teams that are very interested in trading for Reddick if something doesn't get worked out between him and the Eagles. Jeff McClain of The Inquirer has reported that multiple teams have already called Philly inquiring about a potential deal for Haason Reddick, and as of today, we just got a big update on the situation, specifically naming a couple teams that are actually interested in a trade, as Mike Fisher said that sources have told him that both the Dallas Dallas Cowboys and Jacksonville Jaguars are interested in trading for Reddick this offseason, with the article adding that the Cowboys have a lot of respect for Reddick, and there are also rumblings about teams like Detroit, Houston, and New England having interest, but those 3 teams are not confirmed. But the Cowboys definitely are, as it also says, quote, "The Cowboys investigating ways to acquire Reddick is real." Now, I will say this, Haason Reddick going to the Cowboys would be an absolute nightmare for the Eagles. I mean, to put Reddick alongside Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence would create easily the best edge rushing unit in the entire NFL, because those 3 guys are absolute studs. There's no questioning that, and they would absolutely terrorize opposing quarterbacks all season. Now, all that being said, that's pretty much exactly why there's almost no chance of this happening. I mean, the Eagles are in control of where Reddick lands. He's not a free agent. He can't just go wherever he wants. The Eagles have to agree on it as well, and there's absolutely no way that they would trade Reddick to their biggest division rival. Howie Roseman just would not do that. It wouldn't be smart. Simple as that. So, Dallas fans, you guys can keep dreaming, because there's just no way Reddick ends up in Dallas. And I actually think, again, that there's a decent chance that Reddick ends up back in Philly. I mean, again, the NFL salary cap just went up, and it's clear that neither the Eagles or Reddick want to move on from each other. I just think that all these trade talks and the Eagles granting him permission to seek a trade and all that is just a part of the negotiating process. Now, is there a chance that Haas goes somewhere else? Yes, that is very real. I cannot deny that, but I still feel like the most likely thing is that he ends up back as an Eagle, especially with the news of the salary cap increase. But what do you guys think? Now, whether Reddick is back or not, I think we should all expect an increased role from Nolan Smith next season, because obviously, I mean, it'd be a bigger increase if Reddick is not back, but even if he is, the Birds are just going to want to get their second-year edge rusher on the field a lot more than he was last season, because he's got a ton of potential, and he flashed that at times last year, even in his very, very limited role. Howie Roseman said that himself at the Combine, saying, quote, "He's one of the guys who played well in the playoff game. He's got all the right tools, he's got the right mentality, he's got to go out and show it." And Howie also discussed how the young players are going to have bigger roles next year, so I think we can definitely expect Nolan Smith to have a much bigger impact than he did last year, and I'm excited for it, because again, I think the kid has a ton of potential, and I also think he has the right attitude and mindset to play in Philly. Then again, not everyone is built that same way, because Philly is a hard place to play, especially when you aren't playing at your best as a team or even individually, because the fans are going to let you know what's on their minds, and that's hard for some guys to deal with. Former Eagles cornerback Steven Nelson is apparently one of those guys that just can't handle it, as he had Darius Slay on his podcast where they talked about Philly fans, and they both kind of detailed just how hard they feel the fans make it to play in Philly.
You gotta be a different dude.
You gotta be a different dude to play
with Philly.
I fuck with it, I fuck with Philly.
I mean, it's bang bang.
If they like you, if they like you, they like you. They don't.
If they don't,
you don't know. It's over with. Quick.
If you don't got thick skin, Philly is the only place I've been in, bro. Wow. You know this. Like, you can hear them talking.
Yes. Right behind you.
Trade him.
Yes.
What is number 3 doing?
Oh,
get him the fuck out of here.
Get it to you now.
They did that to Sirianni.
We're losing at halftime.
And we go in?
And we go in?
Mm-hmm.
Boo. The whole stadium. It gets to a point one time.
Have you ever seen a home crowd boo you?
We get booed a lot.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Not me, but I've seen a home crowd boo people.
No.
We got our fans being the OC. Run the ball.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
the whole stadium. They get together.
Stadium.
They play mind games on the OC.
Oh,
they had like they part of the coaching staff.
Look here, they'll run the ball. It could be a negative play. Hey, they go cheer for it.
Hey, bro.
Just because you said because you listen.
Hey, bro. I learned quick. I said, oh yeah, I gotta get out of here. This is not good for my mental health. Go ahead. I'm stressed out.
It stress you out. Boy.
I'm stressed out.
I'm talking about because I ain't gonna lie. These probably the only fans that ever got to me before.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not used to that, bro.
It's not gonna be just somebody new all the time. It's gonna be the same one.
Yes.
And he go hit you about 30 times.
They gonna sit in the back of the bench.
Right there.
And they on your ass.
Every play.
But Big Dog,
he's terrible. What the fuck is he doing? You gotta hear that every play.
Now, I see some people getting mad at what Slay said, but honestly, I really don't think he was trying to disrespect Philly fans in any way. I mean, we gotta be self-aware here. We're hard on the players, harder than any other city, and it just takes a certain type of person to like playing here and to want to play here, and Steve Nelson openly said that he's not one of those guys. He can't take it from the fans, so he ended up leaving. Slay, on the other hand, is one of those guys. He's repeatedly said that he loves Philly and he wants to finish his career here. I mean, this is what he said on Twitter after some of the negative backlash. Quote, "I don't know where the negativity coming from. I love and appreciate all fans of the sport, especially from the 2 cities I played in. I will never have nothing negative to say about Detroit or Philly. The only thing negative I could say is both cities get too dang cold for me. Love y'all." I mean, again, I really got no problem with Slay saying what he said because he didn't really say anything crazy. And what he did say makes perfect sense. Like, the fans are going to be hard on you. Like, when things aren't going well, to have the fans then piling onto it and telling you how much you suck, that definitely could be hard to deal with. That being said, yes, the fans are going to be hard on you, but it's because they love you. They're going to hold you accountable because they want you to play at a higher level. And when you you are playing at that higher level, when you are playing hard and with 100% effort, and things are going well just overall, they're going to let you know that as well. And that's what makes Philly such a special place to play. Now let's just hope that things go well next year and the Eagles and Slay can get back to that Super Bowl level that they were playing at in 2022. And I'm going to be covering the Eagles through it all, through this entire offseason, throughout all of next season and beyond that. So if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications. Also drop a like down below on this video if you want to show some support, and leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you want to watch another video going over a lot of the other combine news from earlier in the week, you can check this out right here. Now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.